Welcome back. I'm the Chronology Nut.
And I'm Judgment 915 from Sailor Moon Abridged.
We've now talked about all the different aspects in Castlevania Symphony of the Night. What we wanted to do now is give you our overall impressions and talk about other games you can play if you like this installment. So, Judgment, overall, as unbiased as you can be, what did you think of Symphony of the Night?
I thought it was a great game. Certainly had a lot of fun playing it. I don't know if I would put it at the very top of my best games ever list, but I think it would have a very comfortable place in my top 5 platformers of all time.
Once again, I agree with you there. I don't know if now, 14 years later, Symphony of the Night is really as impressive as it was in 1997, but in terms of how good a side-scrolling platformer gets, this is really about it. It's got everything you could want. It has the RPG elements. It has a huge world to explore twice. It has lots of upgrades and lots of secrets. If you want a fun game that you can play once for a long time and replay, this is the way to go.
Absolutely, but it's not also just the fact that it has RPG elements, because RPG elements seems to be the, topping that all games are putting on top to try and make themselves better. It's well implemented and goes well with the gameplay. It's part of the reasons why I feel the RPG elements are a welcome addition to this particular genre.
So one of the things I wanted to hit on really quickly, and if I'm going too far, you can reel me back in, but this game came at a time when all the series, all the really popular series like Mario and Sonic and Mega Man, and even Castlevania were going 3D on systems like the Dreamcast and the N64. Symphony of the Night stayed strictly in a 2D paradigm, and I think that this game, along with Mega Man X4, came out around the same time, also really impressive stuff in 2D, saved that whole genre, made it really both financially and critically viable.
Oh yeah, totally. It's kind of seen as 3D is a progression of 2D, but they're really two completely different styles of presenting a game that are not necessarily mutually exclusive. There's a lot of things you can do with 3D that you can't do with 2D, but I think there's a lot you can do with 2D that doesn't necessarily work in 3D. So to have such a strong title come out in the 2D medium right when games are starting to make a almost universal shift into 3D definitely contributed to 2D's continued viability as a medium for presenting games.
So, we know Symphony of the Night is great. We know that this is a series that has managed to straddle both 2D and 3D installments really well. So if you like Symphony of the Night, and really, I think most people are going to like Symphony of the Night if they play it.
Oh yeah.
What else should you play? What else is out there in this Metroidvania style?
Well, a recent game that has come out that is available for the Xbox Live Arcade, I'm not sure if it's out for PlayStation Network, is a game called Shadow Complex, which is the same platforming Metroidvania style as Symphony of the Night, in a much more modern format. It's kind of like if Castlevania were written by Tom Clancy, I think this game would be a lot like how it would play. And it's a lot of fun. All the same elements are there. You have the good graphics, music. I think it has a little bit more robust of a storyline just because that's how it was made. And a lot of the exploration and secret finding elements are still intact.
And that ties in with the Orson Scott Card books, right? So if you're an Orson Scott Card fan, it's probably a good investment.
Orson Scott Card?
A sci-fi writer, Ender's Game, things like that.
I'm not 100% sure about that. I hadn't done a lot of research, but if that's true, that's even another credit to that game.
Okay. I would say, from what I've heard, Shadow Complex is a good investment. Haven't played it myself. For me, one of the things I've noticed as I've writing my blog and playing through all the Castlevanias is that it shares similarities with two other great series, Mega Man and Metroid. If you like Castlevania, you should play Mega Man. You should play Metroid. Because, like Castlevania, it was originally kind of a linear action style and transitioned it into these really non-linear exploration-based games where there's a lot of secrets to find. It's a lot of fun going back and finding all these new items, and the difficulty curve is high as well in all three of these series. If you want to give your gaming muscles a real run for their money, play one of these three.
And if you're talking about, we talked about how Castlevania was kind of like the defining moment of 2D Metroidvania. If you want to talk about the great granddaddy of the Metroidvania genre, play Super Metroid for the was it NES or Super NES?
It was Super NES. Well, Super Metroid and Super NES.
Yeah, all right, I can see that. It's definitely one of the I think it is one it might be the first game to actually tackle that format.
Well, the original Metroid had it too, but Super Metroid really perfected the formula, and Symphony of the Night took it one step further with the RPG elements.
If you've only ever played Metroid in the 3D versions, definitely go back and play Super Metroid because you're definitely in for a different experience, but I think one that you will still find enjoyable.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Great game. Maybe a little bit of nostalgia filter in there in terms of naming it the best game ever, but definitely worth playing and definitely worth, if not all, then at least most of its praise.
I agree. 14-year-old game holds up really well, and if you like RPGs, if you like 2D side-scrollers, this is a game you shouldn't miss, and it's available on a lot of different platforms, so definitely check it out. Guys, we hope you've enjoyed this video presentation. I'm the Chronology Nut.
And I'm Judgment 915.
Please be sure to check out Judgment 915's show, Sailor Moon Abridged. You can find it on YouTube. Please be sure to check out my blog at chronologynut.tumblr.com. Do a Google search for Chronology Nut. I'm the first one that comes up. Thanks very much. See you guys soon.
Take it easy.